Hi, Rigsters here, back with another episode of Random Game Session. This time around, I'm taking out the IL-2 Sturmovik with some DLC for a spin. This game is basically a realistic World War II fighter combat game. Has a lot of nice planes, even with the default Steam buy when there was a sale last year on this game. In this video, I'm just going to basically do a quick flight and just to show you what this game is like, and if people are interested, I might be willing to do pilot career. I have not done that yet, but I have flown around for a little bit in the multiplayer training server. So what I mean by that is you click on multiplayer and dogfight, and the most popular server for training multiplayer wise is what's called Combat Box Training and Dogfight. They also have a Discord server that you can join and ask questions or chat around in there. If you are more competent or actually know what you're doing, you can also go into Combat Box, which is by Red Flight, which is vastly more difficult to play because, well, they get rid of icons and make it even more realistic. This game prides itself on at least being more of a realistic flight sim in terms of World War II aerial vehicles. So with that, join the server here. Now I did get this game on Steam, but the IL-2 also has their own store page, which may sometimes include more planes and content per purchase. This is a way of how they set up their stores respectively for Steam and their own website. I would highly recommend, if you do like this game, to at the very least get the Battle of Bodenplatte DLC, because it includes planes such as the P-47 D28 and the Tempest Mark V Series 2 for the Allies. And for the German planes, I believe it includes the G2, or maybe not the G2, I think it was the G14, and the Focke-Wulf 190A8 as well. That's just one example. And they also have what's called collector planes, which if you get it on sale, that's another way of adding more planes you can fly, but do not fret. The base game also comes with planes as well, so you don't have to buy DLC to play the game. It's just basically you have a lot more planes to fly with depending on what you do at the store. That's pretty much how that works. So for this demonstration, I'm going to do a drone target air spawn, just to show you some action real quick here. And I'll fly one of the collector DLC planes, the P-38 J25 on the Steam edition. Ideally, when you do this training server, you want to start off with the takeoff practice spawn or taxi practice spawn, just to get the grips of how the plane handles on the ground and just do some basic takeoffs and goof around there. When you're ready for at least practicing against drones or gunnery, you go to drone target air spawn. And if you want a chance of playing against players or more competent bots, you do dogfight late war for either the Axis or Allies perspective. You start off in the air and you just fly around and have fun there. The dogfight early war, I believe, is, earlier World War II aircraft for the Soviets in particular, and the Germans as well. That's what that does there. You can also do tank busting, which you can do ground attacks against tanks with all sorts of aircraft that can do so, or maybe not, depending on how you feel it. And what was another one? I think there was a World War I area somewhere over here. I don't remember. Here it is. So for World War I aircraft, you could do World War I airplanes duel. If you get the Flying Circus DLC or Flying Circus, you can fly all sorts of World War I aircraft in this area to practice and fly in as well. So let's see what else we got here. I think the only other one that is interesting to note is this also the train smash one, where you go after a train and sink ships where you can do naval operations there. Like you can sink aircraft. Or sink aircraft. I mean sink boats. And there's also a World War I area right around here if you want to do like World War I dogfights and ground attack. It also has that there. I don't know what building pulverize is. What is that? Oh, that's just ground attack. Okay, that's just another ground attack session. Zooming it out there. So let's do a drone target air spawn here. We're going to select the P-38 D28, which is collectors on Steam, and go to setup. Alright, so for the setup here, if you just logged into this server, it'll say some modifications may not be available. I checked that box so it doesn't constantly pop up every time I do this. The first thing you want to do, since you're not going to be flying for more than say like an hour real time, you usually want to reduce the default 50% to say 30%. Some aircraft you can get away with lowering it to like say 25%, which is what I'm going to do. That weight in this game actually matters, so reducing fuel load is the simplest way of reducing weight. Under modifications, some aircraft you can get extra ammunition from guns, that adds weight. You can equip bomb racks, which adds weight and slows you down drag-wise until it's dropped. You can install additional bomb holders for at least the P-38 in particular. Some aircraft you can do just rockets only. The M8 rockets, which is pretty hilarious. On this plane, I have not tried them yet, but it looks funny. And also a BenXM N26, which is useful on realistic servers. I've not learned how to do navigation with radio beacons yet, but eventually I'll start practicing that once I get more competent at flying. So we hit OK there. Another thing you can do is set your gun convergence. Now since the P-38 and some other aircraft have their guns in the nose, this is not as much of importance, but in terms of meters, the further out you put the convergence, the longer it takes for the bullets to form a cone or slide in place and a path in front of you. Some people prefer it being really close, some people prefer it being really far. I'm going to actually experiment and do it further away since it's in the nose. I'm going to do 500 meters. Because all I have to do is just point the nose and click, or in this case, fire the button. Paint schemes is just cosmetic. There's a lot of historical ones that come with each plane, and they even tell you what aircraft was flown by who and what squadron and what year for most of them. Some of them are just like for fun, like Yippee is like a celebratory camo that wasn't used in combat but was actually painted. The one I usually use is like Curly 6 or Hay Stuff, just for cosmetics. I'm going to use Hay Stuff for this one. And hit start. Alright, so in this game, you also have to map a button or on the joystick, or in this case for me the keyboard, because I'm using the Cytec Aviator 03, to increase propeller RPM, which increases the amount of thrust you can potentially get at higher altitudes, or if you want to do, more speed at a higher rate. It makes the engine is pretty automated for the P-38. I don't really have to worry about radiator flaps at all, but I do have to worry about fuel mixture, at least a little bit. You can adjust it with a key binding. I use right alt with the negative and plus sign near the backspace key to adjust the mixture for the keyboard. And as you can see in the middle right corner of your screen, when I'm playing around with the throttle, is say continuous in combat mode. Continuous mode is what you can constantly run. Combat mode is extra thrust, but you'll eventually blow up and overheat your engine if you don't watch it, but that takes a much longer time than emergency mode. Emergency mode is when you're running full power, full tilt the engine, and if you don't in this game watch out, your engine will seize up and stop working. I'm going to uncheck the autopilot which is the auto level in this case. And using center quick view, you can change this by pressing F9. We can do fixed quick view, which holds it right there. Gradual quick view will, well, in this case I customize the camera. It's just you tap a switch on the joystick hat here or on the keyboard if you have this bind, just to do like a gradual adjustment. I'm going back to not necessarily pan camera mode, it was fixed centered. Yeah, centered quick view is my personal favorite. Now if you have track IR or VR, of course this doesn't really matter as much, but if you only have a keyboard and 2 monitors, it makes a difference. So we see this I-16 drone right here. We're just gonna go after it and shoot it down. Oh, and you can ram into aircraft on the sky and on the ground. It does have that as realism. And my flying skills are still not up to snuff or par, so it's still something you have to learn and do. And the only way you can practice is either by watching some videos that I've watched, such as Fight Pilot Requiem is a good resource for this game. I recommend those videos. I'll link them in the description below of who that YouTuber is. And also in part, I have joined that Discord server just to, you know, see what's what and to hang out there as well. They're a very good community there as well. They also play DCS World. DCS World is basically like this game, but different. They're a different company and different goals. Also a good game. I don't personally have though. So now I'm just trying to chase down this drone and hopefully shoot it down this time. It's a little tricky. Man, this drone is much more maneuverable, of course, than this aircraft. It also simulates trim, which I have on a joystick hat switch near the home button. If you actually have this as a, what should we call it, as a joystick. I think the odds of somebody actually having this exact joystick model is pretty low, because they don't make these anymore. It's still serviceable. It could be better. And now another thing to note, this game does model compression. So what that means is if you dive too fast, too steep, you can overspeed the airframe and have it shake apart and blow up. This aircraft was the first to break that or be at that barrier, so this is a late war mod of it. You can deploy the air brakes, which in my case is select on this joystick. Default I think was either left alt B or left control B, but always check a look at the settings to make sure you know what's what for that. So I'm going to hit escape and finish this mission. This will kill the aircraft in 5 seconds, and then I'll do a quick demonstration in an aircraft you can get with the DLC Bodenplatte. So I'll do a drone target air spawn. Now with Bodenplatte, you can also fly the P-47 D28 for the Allies. So that's the aircraft I got it for originally for this game. Just go to the setup here. This aircraft is massive and heavy, but it has 8 50 caliber machine guns. And with modifications, you can actually reduce that from 8 to 6. Or if you're really loony, you can go to 4 machine guns. And then you can compensate for that by adding extra ammo. Well, I'm not going to add extra ammo for this case. Another modification that some aircraft have, usually on the Allied side, but sometimes the Germans will have this, is engine mods or higher grade fuel. This increases the thrust you can get out of the engine. So I'm going to do that for this demonstration. It says I can do up to 70 inches of manifold pressure, which is a lot for a World War II engine. It won't mean much unless if you know the lore or understand and read aircraft. basically just that's like an increase of about like 100 to 300 horsepower, depending on how the engine makes its power. It can make a difference, that's for sure. I'm going to reduce the fuel load though to 25. And here's some more. Oh, I like this one, Snorting Bull. That looks like a cool camo. I like that one. There's some other ones too. There's some non-historic ones as well here. It's actually pretty cool. They have all sorts of different ones. I also like Ratadat and Decon Dandy. Those are also my favorite cosmetic ones. And let's get started. Now, this aircraft in particular does have a lot of controversy in IL-2 because of how the engine modeling is. It's much harder to micromanage. You need more key bindings, of course, to make this aircraft work because of the turbocharger. One thing most players do, and I recommend too, is to hit left alt I to interconnect the turbo lever, so that way when you move the throttle, the turbo also moves with you. And the only time you ever have to worry about that is when you're at really high altitudes, which I've read, at least on the multiplayer servers, this doesn't happen very often. Now we got the turbo engaging, and let's increase the propeller RPM to 85. And then when you go full power, you can go really fast by doing 100% throttle and 100% engine RPM. If I do one of my key bunnies here, I think I can, oh. Yeah, there we go. I can reduce the outlet cow shutters, which is this guy right here. If I can get it to zoom with F2 view here a little better. You want to close these or reduce these as much as possible to reduce drag, because once you reach a certain airspeed, I think it's about 250 miles an hour, you don't need them anymore, and you won't overheat. So I'm going to reduce the propeller RPM a little bit to 85. Yeah, let's do 90. And once these interconnected, I'll set the throttle to 85% here. Keep in combat mode. So I see the bot, which is in blue at the bottom right corner of your screen. I'm going to look around with my joystick. Ah, there he is. It's right back down there. I'm going to do a really crappy turn because I'm still learning the game, so I have no idea what I'm doing in that regard. Because most of my experience with these kind of games is much more arcadey experience. You didn't have to worry about these engine stuff. But that's what makes this game fun. You can start learning and understanding what you really had to do during this time period of the 40s. Now, unlike the P-38, this plane won't compress as quickly. And it dives, well, because it's so massive, it dives really well. The rate of climb is slower. Has good roll rate. And originally is intended to be a high altitude interceptor / escort. Was a great ground attacker during the war. It's a very durable aircraft. At least in real life. I don't know how durable it is in this game. And if you see that blinking light on the middle bottom left corner, that's the turbo indicator. If it's blinking, that means it's good. If it's full blinking, that means it's overspeeding. Like if it's full on. If it's blinking, that means it's normal. So I'm going to increase power just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go all the way. Let's go 100%. And increase the prop speed to 95. Because this P-39 is going really fast. I mean, it's insane how fast this aircraft is going. So I'm going to slow down just a little bit and open up at 500 right here. There we go. Just hold down the trigger and pump that bot full of holes. See if we destroyed it. Yes, he's destroyed. He's going down. Alright. So this is what it looks like outside. If I hit left shift A, this is what I bind it to for auto level. And slow down the aircraft just a little bit here. Auto level will just keep the aircraft straight and level. It will not turn for you. But this is what it looks like in F2 view. I mean, so the modeling in this game is pretty good. I really appreciate the time and effort they put. So that's pretty much it for IL-2 Sturmovik. Just a little overview of what this game can do. Highly recommend this game, especially get it on sale. And if you want to get a little bit more out of your money, I would recommend, if you can, get it through the non-Steam store page. If you want just the convenience still, like I did, because I was a little lazy and didn't realize there was a actual store by the developers themselves. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you like this video and want to continue supporting the channel, I've now set up a Ko-Fi page, which I'll be linking in the description below. If you'd like to help out and see what I can do with a better flight stick, that'd also be appreciated. And I really do appreciate, regardless of how things go channel-wise, of all the viewers and subscribers so far. I really love doing these kind of videos as well. This is Rigsters Journey, signing off.